Hey, retro lovers! Welcome to the Nostalgia Junkies podcast, where we talk all about pop culture, retro toy collecting, and nostalgia. And now, here are your Nostalgia Junkies.
I'm Alex.
I'm Cruz.
And this is Nostalgia Junkies, your raddest and hippest podcast for all things nostalgic. We're talking 80s, 90s, 2000s. We're talking movies, toys, video games, music, you name it. We talk about it. Give us some ideas, because you know what? My brain is becoming mush.
Yeah, well, that happens. You know, you got other priorities at the moment.
I know. So I don't think we really talk about it.
No, we haven't.
No, I know. So we talked about how we pre-recorded the episodes in January because there were big changes on the horizon. We recorded our first episode for February, but I'm a dad now.
Yes, you are.
And
beautiful baby girl.
Yeah. I'm a girl dad.
She's a month now.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah. It's crazy. She's already like getting bigger and getting that little baby personality of her own.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
Their facial features change pretty rapidly, like the first 3 to 4 months. She doesn't look like she was when she was first born.
So I told my wife that when our baby was born, especially when they put the salve on the eyes, that she looked like a knockoff Madball. And she got so offended. But then I showed her the picture, and she was definitely looked like a knockoff Madball.
Wow.
But, we're a couple weeks out from the Super Bowl. You know, football, it was a thing. Stuff happened.
Correct.
And I figured this would be a perfect time for us to talk about some of the best sports games from the Nintendo 64 era.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we're talking about football. There's like an iconic football game for the N64.
Yes.
It originally was an arcade game and was released by Midway by 1997 for the N64. We're talking NFL Blitz.
Yes, come on.
NFL Blitz, phenomenal game. The line was adrenaline packed, letting it drop kick anyone on the field.
Yeah.
Like if you did not grow up playing NFL Blitz, as Cruz likes to say, you're not from this planet.
Yeah, correct. NFL Blitz, come on, man. It's an instant classic. You didn't even need to know football to play this game. It was just one of those fun to play. Anyone could play it. Pick up the controller. Obviously, it was first in arcade, so only 3 buttons and a joystick. But it's up there, man. Blitz was easy and fun.
So that lack of variety in the plays was really the only thing that went against it.
Correct.
For its ranking.
Yeah.
Everything else with NFL Blitz, it was easy to play. It was fun to play. Yeah. But the lack of varieties for what plays you could do.
Yeah. I think there was 6 to 12 plays, I think. Yeah. That was tops. It. Yeah.
As we got to NFL Blitz 2002, we got more. Yeah. But the original one was just.
Yeah. But again, the football play aspect part of it was not the fun part of the game. Yeah. It was slamming into people and, Yeah.
No one played NFL Blitz expecting it to be a great football simulator.
No, definitely not.
You played NFL Blitz because it was fun to get a late hit in and drop kick the referee.
Correct.
Which I'm pretty sure is what the Chiefs wanted to do to the refs after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I will say one of the really fun aspects of NFL Blitz had to be the cheat codes.
Yes.
So the big head, big football.
Yep.
And Midway did a great job. So Midway actually added this in. It was supposed to be part of the original game, but got pulled. So they made it a cheat code, blood mode.
Yeah.
So when you originally tackled somebody, it was supposed to have that Mortal Kombat-esque blood splatter.
Yeah. That time period would have been tough.
But dude, to this day, I still love playing NFL Blitz.
Yeah, I play it all the time too, whenever I get a chance. For me, my favorite Blitz is NFL Blitz 2000. I think it's my favorite. But again, the original's great. The arcade is great. Can't knock it.
Exactly. So next up, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And I really couldn't limit it to just one of them. So we're just saying
the group,
the whole three, all three of them. So this was released by Activision in 1999.
Yeah.
The original character model for the game was actually Bruce Willis's character from the game Apocalypse. So when they were doing the original test demos, before they actually made the render of Tony Hawk or any of the characters, the dummy character used to test the game was Bruce Willis from Apocalypse.
That's pretty cool. I
Because
did not know that.
Activision used the same software.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty cool. It was a fun game. I didn't play it as much as others on this list. Fun, but not one of my favorites.
Dude, the gameplay for me for Tony Hawk, this was a game like this is like people talk about going and playing GTA for hours just to kind of mellow out.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Like just sitting there listening to the soundtrack.
Yeah, soundtrack top tier. Gameplay for me, it was cool. Open world a little bit, it was roaming a little bit, but yeah, it was just one of those things where I wasn't a big skater to begin with. I liked Tony Hawk. I would watch all the X Games and everything else, but video game wise, I wasn't until I started playing like Skate later on in the Xbox era. That's when I got in more.
Yeah, to me, like I have so many memories of just like skating around the warehouse. It was great.
Yeah, most definitely.
Something that I discovered recently, which I don't know how I didn't know this growing up. In Tony Hawk's Brocator 3, there is a cheat code. If you type in Freak Show, it actually unlocks Darth Maul from episode 1.
Are you kidding me?
No. So you can actually like skate around as Darth Maul.
That's funny.
And he has his like dual lightsaber. So you could do the cheat code or you could be a completionist and get all 54 achievements to do it. No one in the 90s was doing that.
No, definitely
not. We were plugging in the cheat code. We were going to be using Darth Maul.
Funny, side note, Pro Skater 3 is one I don't come by a lot at the store. 1 and 2, yes, but 3 never comes in. Very interesting.
That's what I normally see Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Yeah.
Something I will say that the Nintendo cards did a really good job with the Tony Hawk series.
The colors.
The multi-card.
Yeah.
The multicolor cards.
Yeah.
Like we so often will see a gray card.
Yeah. All the time.
Not a single card for Tony Hawk was gray.
Yeah.
We had blue, yellow, and black.
Most of the color ones are really good games. So like Carnage is in the red. Yeah. So yeah. Let's go to the next one.
So we talked about skateboarding. Let's talk about snowboarding.
Yes.
1080 snowboarding.
Yes.
This was a first-party Nintendo game.
Yes.
So there are 2 modes in the game. There's trick mode and race mode. I usually went to race mode. I love racing games.
Yeah.
So trick mode was fun, but like to me, it was all about racing down the mountain and just knocking people over.
Correct. Yeah, it was. I liked either or. It was fun just doing tricks and getting points on the tricks. Yeah, but going downhill race mode, pushing people off the it was fun. Yeah. Skating not too big, but snowboarding was
the thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
most definitely. And then you could pick up speed too, which was one of those things, man, going downhill.
I also feel like at the time that 1080 was coming out, like Shaun White was getting
just
to the
becoming, yeah, correct.
So it's like everybody was getting into snowboarding. Yeah. And I mean, I remember that I wanted to be a snowboarder as a kid too.
Yeah.
And I thought that I was snowboarding down this massive hill. Dude, I drove by the hill the other day. It's not that big.
Yeah.
It's the tiniest little thing. But I thought one thing that was interesting is like, Tony Hawk was praised for its music.
Yep.
And the way that it kind of recognized the skater scene. Snowboarding 1080 did the same thing, but it was for the underground techno club music.
Yes.
Which it was something that was introduced to the gaming scene that had not been introduced beforehand. They also, they had the Tommy Hilfiger and Lamar snowboarding product placement, and that was something that we didn't see in a lot of games. That was kind of cool. This is what amazed me. 1080 snowboarding was a first-party Nintendo game. This would then get a sequel for the GameCube called 1080 Avalanche, a competing game made by EA Sports. Was SSX Tricky on tour. It was made by a competing company also for the GameCube, but it wasn't a Nintendo first-party game. However, the EA Sports title featured Mario, Luigi, and Peach as all playable characters and were heavily featured in the marketing.
Really?
Yep.
Very interesting.
That's why why would you not put your own first party characters in a first party game? I mean, that's what, like, to me, like, I didn't realize really until I was doing research for this podcast that 1080 snowboarding had a sequel game.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
Because like I know from my youth SSX Tricky on Tour.
Yeah.
Like to me, when I think of an iconic snowboarding game, I mean I also grew up in the GameCube era. It's SSX Tricky on Tour because I would grab Luigi and I was snowboarding.
Yeah, you would see those more often. It's yeah.
So I know I thought it was weird that, you know, the first party Nintendo game wouldn't feature their own like major label characters, and they would let EA Sports use them because EA Sports not only used Mario, Luigi, and Peach in SSX Tricky on Tour, but also in the basketball game as well.
Yeah, correct.
So like, I wonder what was the licensing agreement going on in those early to mid 2000s years that would lead to this.
Yeah, very interesting. We haven't had a good snowboarding game since that era, really, when you really think about it. Nothing's compared to it.
But, you know, we're talking about snowboarding. Let's talk about another winter sport.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about this a lot on the podcast before, so we'll limit it a little bit. But this game was developed by Midway for the N64 in 1996. And just like how Blitz was supposed to include blood, Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey was originally supposed to include fatalities at the end of the fights.
Really?
Yep. Obviously, it was dropped because Nintendo was like, yo, we can't do this.
That's funny, man.
But I will say one of my favorite features is after you get in the fights or just get a really big truck,
the
little ambulance that goes across the screen.
Yeah.
It's in little wee woo, wee woo. It's, to me, it makes the game.
Yeah. It's one of the probably the pinnacle of hockey games, I would say. Obviously, there are later titles, but Wayne Gretzky kind of was.
It was it.
Yeah.
It's the NFL Blitz of hockey.
Correct.
And I mean, that being said, and it's done by the same company, we had some of the same cheats with the big head.
Yeah. And it operated, it was smooth. It wasn't a janky game. It was a smooth game.
I will say, I think this is a game that I go back to and play over and over again.
Yeah.
Mainly because much like NFL Blitz, it's an easy playthrough.
Yes.
I think to me, one of the biggest things that I love is that it has teams that I grew up on that we can play as.
Right.
Mainly the Anaheim Ducks and being from Connecticut, the Hartford Whalers. And the Hartford Whalers in this day and age were a dominant team.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. I remember my dad used to work for Aetna and City Place right next to the Civic Center. Obviously, it was named the Civic Center. And so he used to get free tickets all the time through Aetna. So, man, when they were in town, I remember going to Whaler games all the time. So, yeah, the Hartford Whalers, sad when we sold that team. It was our only professional team, man.
I know. It'd be nice to see them come back. It's never going to happen.
No, never.
But it's like, I will say, we do have some good minor league teams here.
Yeah.
We have the Wolfpack for hockey.
Yeah.
We got
the Yard Goats
for baseball.
Half of their pro shop is like
Whalers gear.
Whaler stuff. Yeah.
It's sad when you still have to sell Whalers gear to keep the lights on.
Correct.
And we haven't been the Whalers for almost 30 years.
Yeah. More than that.
Yeah.
All right, what's the last one?
The last one, I definitely categorize this as the top sports game. Mario Golf. So the same reason we say NFL Blitz, 1080,
it's easy.
3D hockey, Tony Hawk, it's easy to pick up and play.
I wasn't a Nintendo guy, so Mario Golf wouldn't have been a game that I would have picked up. Played it. It's fun. I can't consider it like the pinnacle of that list, though.
I think out of the list of this 5, it's definitely number 5. It's not number 1.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
this was not any specific order.
Okay, yes. Okay.
Yeah, no. I think, though, like, because after this one, we have other NFL blitzes. We have NHL. We have NBA Jam. We have All-Star Baseball, which I almost put All-Star Baseball in here, but I was thinking about what's an easy game to pick up and play.
Yeah.
All-Star Baseball is not a pick up and play casual game.
No, it
has some
more
control.
Yeah, correct.
Where every other game on this list
Was easy.
exactly,
Just
and
pick up and play.
that's why Mario Golf made it. Like I thought Mario Tennis, but like
Yeah, that's
it's golf.
golf is better.
The golf game, especially when you think about the entire series, I think Mario Golf for the N64 is still arguably one of the best Mario Golf games.
Yeah.
Like they've added new things to the genre with the Super Rush, what it was called in the new one.
Yeah.
Mario Golf N64 is still like the best.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought was interesting was so it featured like, Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Peach, like our regular cast of characters. We had Baby Mario. But then we had our classic iconic characters of Charlie, Harry, Sunny, Maple, and Plum.
Mm-hmm.
And these were all made up characters.
Yeah.
These characters do not appear in any other rendition of Mario. They are not from any other game. They don't even go to Mario Toadstool Tour on the GameCube.
Yeah.
This is the only game that these 5 characters saw.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Exactly. It was like they were hurting for characters. And I would love to say that, yes, Nintendo was hurting for characters. They didn't have people, but they definitely did. Like Birdo.
They could have used
Diddy
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong was a playable character. I just didn't list them.
Okay.
But like Diddy Kong wasn't in the game.
Diddy was there.
We could have gotten Waluigi because Waluigi came out in Mario Tennis.
Oh yeah, so it could have
Like,
yeah.
There are definitely characters that they could have put in. Like they could have brought back Wart from Super Mario World 2. Like there's definitely characters that could have been added. And that's something that I will say I think the golf series has done very well.
Yeah.
Is they've expanded the roster.
Correct.
Like we could have had Pauline, dude. You want to put in a humanoid character, put in Pauline.
Yeah, correct.
They just didn't want Pauline and Peach fighting on the course. But those were like our top N64 games. If you have a top N64 game that's a sports title that we did not say, let us know in the comments below because I'm always interested to pick up a new game. But what do you say we get into our mail call, which it's kind of a mail call and kind of a rant for us.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Walmart and I picked up the brand new Madballs that exist in this packaging. I'm a big fan of Madballs. I love the 80s toy line. I even like the renditions that came back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Kid Robot has done a phenomenal job with the restructures. And now we have these. I'm trying to think of how to phrase this politely, and I'm just going to be unhinged for a little bit. These toys suck. I think that the marketing was done very well. I think the AI renders were done really well. I think even the concept of making the Madballs hairy was an interesting design choice. I think that Wolf Breath looks great with a giant mane, and that Slobulus with giant unkept hair is a phenomenal idea. These toys were not made well. They are cheap. The glue does not hold up. And quite honestly, the display could have been done. Actually, I think the display might be the best thing.
So the display is the best thing. Holding them in place could have been done better, right? So they're not shaking all over the place. Obviously, being that the price point, we won't mention the price point. I can see why. I can see why the quality of the toy isn't that great because of the price point. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, I think they would have looked better if they just did them in a matte finish instead of a glossy finish.
I agree. And you know what? I know you said we'll not mention the price point. I'm going to mention the price point because you know what? I think it's an important factor in this conversation. Yes. The price point for these toys, $547.
Yeah.
Ended up being about $6 with tax. It's a cheap toy.
Yeah.
And you know what? It looks like a cheap toy.
Yes.
I would much rather double the cost, make it a $10 to $12 figure. Chill out, buddy. Cruz is knocking the
This
mad
is-
ball into the mic.
This is like a game.
Oh, I would much rather make this a $10 to $12 figure, and instead of screen printing just this different logos or different face over the same generic mad ball, make it a little better. Do a little bit better of print. Go back to like what the old ones were. Because like, the 80s mad balls, the 90s mad balls, and the Kid Robot mad balls all had that similar paint job. This seems like a cheap hydro dip.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. Again, like I said, even if they would have done matte, man, like just paint them. Don't do this hydro dip glossy finish. I think they would have been better. But they kind of give you like the mail call from the regular episode, test tube, the germs.
Yeah, they have a very similar packaging. Honestly, I think out of everything, the packaging
It's probably the
design
best.
is the coolest. Like this,
Yeah,
in
the
dome is
artwork
actually
too.
very cool. Yeah, the logo looks great. The packaging is very creative. I think doing a bit different than this resting position so it doesn't fall around. The puck head, its resting spot is a little elevated so it doesn't roll around as much. It's in the other. I'm not going to go get it. Just I'm too lazy to go get it. I think that I would much rather see a little higher buy-in and then a little higher quality. I think that, $547, you get what you pay for. We definitely got what we paid for. I think that for $547, it's not a bad figure for $547.
Definitely not. I mean, again, it's a cool entry for like little kids if they like it.
Yeah. But it's definitely not going to hold up.
No, definitely not. I mean, I think at this point in time, I think a lot of the Walmarts already have them on clearance for like under $3.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
That's kind of my fear.
We won't get a second wave. It's not coming.
And I feel like those of us that wanted Madballs, we got them.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a collective decision, or not decision, but statement online that these are not good.
No.
Especially when you look at the AI renders that they had, and the AI renders were like heavily designed and heavily molded and looked really cool. And it made you want to buy them.
Yeah, this
is a bait and switch.
Rush.
Yeah.
Looks rushed.
So
had a timeline and they rushed it.
I'm hoping, my hope is that the company takes the feedback and does do a second wave. Maybe does a smaller wave, but produces them better.
And it was already a small wave, 6 characters. Yeah, hopefully they bring them back, man. Hopefully they bring them back. They just go back to the drawing board a little bit. Like you said, the hair is cool. Like having real hair is kind of cool. Gives it a different aesthetic, right? Like every time period has done a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just felt the same. The paint job, the hydro dip look, I don't like it.
Yeah. Like, and it's sad because, I really like Wolf Breath as a mad ball.
The funny thing is, it's a mad ball, but it's almost so bad. It's a knockoff mad ball.
I always say, I think the bootlegs and the knockoffs look better.
Yeah, which is kind of sad. This is a knockoff of a knockoff.
Yeah. It's like somebody who wanted to make mad balls and said, hey, this is the name of our toy. Just design a figure what you think it'll look like.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a little sad. I will say something that I thought was interesting, and I pointed this out to one of our fellow toy collectors, the Grossius Maximus Mad Ball,
yes,
which looks like a Centurion. On the side here, it has everybody's name printed on a little sticker. And everyone's name, like this is the Wolf Breath Mad Ball, and it says Wolf Breath here. The Grossius Maximus one, it says Sharkborg. Like it's a shark cyborg. So it makes me wonder if there was a different original concept art that they rolled with and never changed the name over.
Very interesting.
So I don't know.
Yep.
I'm hoping we got another wave. I'm hoping they make some improvements because I would love to see what some good Mad Balls with current like age technology would look like.
Worst case scenario, you buy a bunch of these and use the display for your other Madballs.
That's actually not a bad idea. I actually might start doing that. But what do you say we get into this or that?
Let's do it.
So today's This or That has been brought to you by throwbackbuys.com, your one-stop shop for all things nostalgic. Whether you're looking for a Furby, the Malibu Barber Dream House, or even a Kooky sweater to rock to that next holiday party, Throwback Buys is the site for you. Use our code NJPOD for 15% off your order. Details will be linked in the description below. So we brought back some This or That matchups because I believe on our last 80s throwback,
Yes.
we did the battle of the best 80s villains.
Correct.
And you made a request for us to do the battle of the heroes.
Mm-hmm.
So today we have the battle of the best 80s heroes, or just really kind of best 80s leading man, because there weren't a lot of heroes in a lot of cartoons. I feel like the only ones that had multiple heroes were like Match of the Universe and Thundercats.
Correct.
And I wasn't going to sit here and have us go Lion-O and Panthro. That was just going to be stupid. So our first matchup, though, He-Man versus Lion-O.
Easy one for me.
Who you picking?
Lion-O.
Okay. Why are you going for Kitty Boy?
Because he's a beast. His sword is stronger, has more power. He's got that youthfulness because he's a kid. But at any given point, you know, he's a kid in a grown man body. So I feel like
Tom Hanks?
Yeah, a little bit.
Tom
You know,
Hanks
I just feel like sword to sword, if you go sword to sword, Lionel's sword is stronger, more powerful. And I think we had this argument. If you flip on me, I'm gonna be pretty pissed off.
I am a little on the fence with that it's stronger. I don't necessarily know if the Sword of Omens is stronger than He-Man's sword.
What does He-Man's sword do?
It channels the power of Castle Grayskull.
And turns
He-Man,
Adam
into He-Man.
Okay.
But it channels all the magic of Castle Grayskull.
What does the Omen?
Gives him sight beyond sight.
Exactly.
So I'm not arguing which sword is cooler. I think Sword of Omens, hands down, a much cooler sword and has a much cooler power.
Yeah.
I think we're arguing over what has more magical capabilities. And I think if you put sword to sword, I think the sword of power that He-Man has would destroy Sword of Omens. I think when you're talking about because you're talking about
we're gonna
let us know. Let us know arguments down here in the chat.
Yeah,
because like I hands down think that you're channeling the power.
Okay, all right. So let's say the Sword of Omen loses. Lion-O is definitely a better character than He-Man.
Yes, I agree with that. Character-wise, yes. If we're talking a fist fight, I think that's where we're going to get into.
Lion-O is Lion-O all the time. Adam has to turn to He-Man.
But that's where
Lion-O will whoop the shit
out of Prince Adam. Agreed.
Lion-O will wait until he turns back into Prince Adam and then whoop his ass.
Snarf would whoop the crap out of Prince Adam.
No, for me, I just Lion-O is more of an iconic character to me. I love He-Man. I love He-Man, but for me, if they tell me, dude, you got to grab one dude to go into a fight with right now, I'm going Lion-O, man.
Okay. I'm just thinking, like, if they got in a fight based off of pure power, it's He-Man.
Yes.
Based off of fighting skills,
it's Lion-O. But again, when you think of He-Man, he was tricked so much by Skeletor. He's got that dumb characteristic to him, man. Like, Prince Adam sneaks into the brainwave a lot and makes He-Man get tricked easily a lot. Where Lino doesn't get tricked, man. He may get beat. Here and there, but there's not a ton of trickery like Skeletor does. I mean, some silly stuff happens.
Okay. So the argument is not on the sword. The argument is on the character. I will agree with you. I think that at the end of the day, Lion-O is a much cooler character than He-Man.
Yes.
And I think that if we're going to a fight, and it is based off of skill and not off of raw power, it's going to be Lion-O. Lion-O has more combat prowess than He-Man does.
Yeah, he was trained.
I think that if it came down to just a straight up fist fight,
yeah,
He-Man is going to be walking out with a brand new fur coat. He's wearing Lion-O like a coat, dude. Straight up fist fight. Straight up fist fight.
We'll have to wait and see. Some artist, please, some writer, let's write this up. Let's compare true power to power. Let's figure this out. Someone's got to do the background work on this. Someone's already done it. I guarantee it. Someone's done it.
We'll find it. Instagram did not have your back on this one.
Okay. He-Man
to Lion-O. 71% in favor of He-Man, 29% Lion-O.
But I'm giving you the reason why. He-Man was a better known entity than Thundercats were.
I think that He-Man was a better known entity. I think it's been a more iconic toy line.
Correct.
And I think that they had better toys.
Yeah.
I think
LGN did not do a good job with LGN
was like your cereal box quality toys. Like
no, you can't play LG.
Feels like crap, dude.
You can't play LGN that bad, man.
I got Chitara over there with half of her leg melting off. She has a lame leg over there. Look like she needs some damn crutches.
But you got half of the He-Man characters doing split because they can't stand up.
Listen, I can fix the rubber band. I can't fix the leg that doesn't stay straight no more.
This is what I have to tell you though. If I'm gonna pick like molds, I would prefer the LGN Thundercat molds. I think He-Man was very generic where they used the body across everyone.
Agreed.
Thundercats, even the Panther, Lion-O, they're all different sizes and height. Where He-Man, they were all about the same cross, except for the villains.
I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna move on to our next after that.
Let's go.
I don't have He-Man displayed. I have Thundercats in a case.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Correct.
So that's why I agree. Lion-O is a much better character than He-Man. However, He-Man got that power.
Yeah, I guess.
So next one, Optimus Prime or Duke from G.I. Joe.
Ugh, that's an easy one.
Do you know why I matched these two up?
Why?
Who died in the Transformers movie? Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime.
Who was supposed to die in the G.I. Joe movie?
Duke.
That's the only reason I can match them up.
This one's pretty easy, man. Again, all you G.I. Joe fans, I'm sorry, but Optimus would stomp one step, bro. It's over. There's not. I don't know what Duke can do without his army against Optimus.
Hand to hand inside of G.I. Joe.
Hand to hand combat. Good luck, Duke, man. You're a true American hero, but you are not beating Optimus.
I believe the prompt with this one was, who are you following to the end of the line?
Yeah.
Like, who are you going to follow? Optimus Prime or Duke?
Yeah.
93% of voters said Optimus Prime.
Yeah, come on.
7% said G.I. Joe.
Those are the true G.I. Joe lovers, man.
Exactly. And listen, I'm beginning to form more of an appreciation for G.I. Joe.
Me too.
But there's no argument here. There is no argument here. It's Optimus Prime or Duke. There is no fight.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime, day after day, is a better leader.
Dude, Optimus even in his worst,
Was better.
is better than Duke. I'm sorry. You know, putting Snake Eyes against Optimus, I think Snake Eyes' brain would try to figure out a way to take the Allspark from
We
Optimus.
had to go with heroes.
And well,
Snake Eyes is not a hero.
yeah, he is, man. He's an anti-hero.
He's on Cobra Commander's team.
He's an anti-hero, man. He's always played that little teetering like he could be a good guy at some point.
Okay,
All right, let's go to the next one.
next one. The prop was, who do you want solving your mystery? Inspector Gadget or Scooby-Doo?
Man, they're both dummies that can figure shit out.
I will say, I think I got a DM over this one as well.
Does Scooby get his whole team?
Just Scooby-Doo. Just Inspector Gadget, just Scooby-Doo.
I'm going Inspector Gadget, man. His equipment is better than just Scooby with his paws.
I agree. I think Inspector Gadget's the way to go. I will say the funniest thing, I got a DM that said, my mystery is going unsolved. It's a guy who can't solve the mystery without his adolescent niece or a dog with a drug problem.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was dying.
It would be fun to chill with Scooby, though. I'll tell you that. We might not figure the mystery out, but damn, we would have a blast.
Yes, you would. But I would say, just like you, Inspector Gadget. Instagram said 37% Inspector Gadget, 63% Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
They wanted Scooby. And like we've been saying, Scooby-Doo's a more iconic character.
Yeah.
More people enjoy Scooby-Doo.
Man, what's man's best friend?
Dog.
Exactly.
So our last one here. What team would you rather be on? Captain Planet or Voltron? I'm going to surprise you with this one. I would say Voltron.
I love Captain Planet, man, and I would have loved to been a Planeteer.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, man. It's the closest thing prior to the Rangers, bro. Have to go with Voltron. It's the beginning of what gave the idea for the Rangers. So I'm gonna have to go with Voltron.
I'm with you, and it's like, I mean, I'm a huge Captain Planet fan.
Correct.
Like my Cardi Captain Planet collection,
it's right behind me, guys.
is behind Cruz. Like I love Captain Planet.
Yeah.
However, this is what did it for me. I want to be a Planeteer, but when we have to use our biggest power, I'm getting benched.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the Planeteers fuse to become Captain Planet. They lend their powers to summon him, and then they basically get relegated to just watching.
Yeah, the sidelines.
When you are part of Team Voltron, you form the robot. I don't care if I'm the left toe.
Yeah.
I'm part of a giant robot. Voltron was it.
Yeah.
I will say, just as we struggled with this one, so did Instagram. 48% said Captain Planet.
Wow.
52% said Voltron.
Jesus.
So,
wow.
And
Amazing.
I'm wondering how many people were also on that same mindset of they wanted to be part of a robot and they didn't want to be relegated to like,
just
whatever.
sitting on the sidelines, man. Because the dude, when you really think about it, Captain Planet was like an early version of Thanos, man. He just wanted all the power from the rings, man. It was hey, think about it, man. Captain Planet.
You're right.
He is Thanos before he went to the dark side, bro.
I mean, we've talked about the Don Cheadle movie before. But like, if you watch the Don Cheadle YouTube series of him being Captain Planet,
it's funny.
Basically Thanos. Yeah. Instead of just snapping his fingers and getting rid of half of the world, he gets rid of everything and everyone becomes trees.
Yeah.
Except for Monty, who serves some Mai Tais. But those were our this or that.
Yeah, those were good.
To our meat and potatoes.
Yeah, let's do it.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
If you've enjoyed listening to today's episode, be sure to check out some of our older episodes, whether it's our Disney Afternoon theme song review or our new throwback series where we dive 40 years into the past. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for updates, nostalgia-related shorts, and videos of each episode. If you'd like to support the show, you could leave a 5-star review on your favorite streaming service or even send us an email at nostalgiajunkiesct@gmail.com to let us know your thoughts. Now, back to the show. Okay, so it is another 80s throwback episode where we jump 40 years into the past. Today, we are talking about what was going on in February of 1985.
Yes.
So, Beverly Hills Cop came out at the end of January. It is still dominating the box office.
Mhm.
And to compete with it, Disney re-released Fantasia.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
okay.
I've watched Fantasia a few times. Chernabog, I think, is a really cool design for a character.
Mhm.
But,
It's all right.
yeah,
It's all right, man.
it was not the it movie for me for Disney. I have a best buddy from high school that Fantasia is his favorite movie from Disney.
Really?
Loves it. I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
One of the movies that released,
Mm-hmm.
the name didn't stand out to me, but the two lead actors and actresses did.
Yep.
Into the Night, starring Michelle Pfeiffer and Jeff Goldblum.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
did you watch Into the Night at all?
Mm-mm. I know it. I've seen, but no,
wasn't
never sat there to watch it.
Yeah, it wasn't a chart topper either.
No,
it was
definitely
just it had two people who are now household names.
not. Mm-hmm.
The big one.
Yes.
This is the biggin.
Yeah.
The Breakfast Club, the John Hughes movie Breakfast Club, released in February of 1985.
Very impressive. $51 million.
$51 million on a $1 million budget.
That's a good turnaround.
Originally, the studio did not want John Hughes to direct this movie.
Yeah.
He was able to convince them because he was able to limit production costs because they did all the shoots at one location.
Yeah.
And he said, if I limit it this much, can I direct this film? And they had already let him this is after the studio already let him direct 16 Candles.
Really?
So Breakfast Club was supposed to be John Hughes' directorial debut. However, he had just finished he was in the process of writing Breakfast Club and wrote 16 Candles in 6 days. And the studio said, we want you to produce this or direct this because you directed it, you wrote it so fast. So he did 16 Candles. He then finished doing Breakfast Club and said, I want to direct this movie. They went, well, John, you just directed 16 Candles. We want somebody else's vision. And he goes, no, I wrote this. I want to direct this.
Yeah.
And the studio had no faith in him directing The Breakfast Club.
Crazy.
The only reason he got it is because he kept production costs under $1 million.
Wonder how 16 Candles did where they didn't have faith in him like that.
I think it's because 16 Candles hadn't released yet.
Oh, that's right.
Because he wrote it, directed it, and then between him directing it and it coming out, that's when they started filming Breakfast Club. But he did get to do it, and not only did John Hughes direct The Breakfast Club, but John Hughes actually stars in The Breakfast Club as well.
Yep.
So John Hughes plays Brian's father.
Correct.
So Anthony Michael Hall's character, he's the dad inside the car, and the woman who plays Anthony Michael Hall's mom is actually his real life mom, Mercedes Hall. So I thought that was just a cool little Easter egg. But something I wanted to talk about. Prior to his death, John Hughes started penning a Breakfast Club sequel. The movie was going to take place with all the cast of characters in their 20s and 30s in detention in college. Obviously, the movie never got made.
Yeah.
He passed away before it could be done. What he wanted to do in this movie was to have all those iconic tropes of Brian being the nerd. We had Bender being the bum. He wanted them to all be polar opposites of themselves 10 years down the line and having to reconcile with who they were then, who they are now, and how just everyone's perspective of each other played in the way that it shaped them growing up.
Yeah.
Which I think would be a very interesting premise for the movie.
Correct. But I think...
Does it need to be made?
I I don't think so, man. I think Breakfast Club is one of those iconic movies that shouldn't be touched. There's
Mhm.
some movies that are so great that shouldn't have a sequel that should never be touched. And I think the Breakfast Club it it, it ended, right? The movie ended, the characters went their own ways, and I think
That's it.
that's it. Leave it there. Again, like if you think about it, right, guys, the way all the characters were, do you really think though they would have kept in touch after that detention? No, they would have went back to their
I-
regular lives.
I think Molly Ringwald's character and Judd Apatow,
Maybe.
not Judd Apatow, who played Bender?
Um, Jesus.
Yeah, but I think Molly Ringwald's character and Bender would have continued their little farcical
Maybe.
relationship.
Maybe.
I don't think. I think maybe Anthony Michael Hall and Emilio Estevez
Mhm.
they would have for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the jock needs some person
Yeah.
to help him with his grades. I don't think anyone after that would have been.
No, it's one of those where you can't touch it, man. Like I get the concept of going into the future, but just for example, you served detention in school. I served detention in school.
Mhm.
We made ruckus with people that were in detention with us. How many times did you become friends?
Never,
Exactly.
never.
Thank you very
No,
much.
I think that's a good point. I, like that again. Breakfast Club has been parodied in other forms of media,
Correct.
and I don't think it's ever been done well.
No.
I think the only instance that I can think where like there's like an homage to Breakfast Club, and I know we've already referenced this season. It was Saban's Power Ranger movie.
Yeah.
It was very subtle. The kids were just in detention, and then they went and off and made trouble.
Yep.
And that's it. Like there's an episode of Victorious that did an episode on the Breakfast Club, and it was blah.
Yeah.
Like there really hasn't been any good even parodies. I think that the Breakfast Club, the sequel, whatever, it needs to not happen.
Yeah.
I
no,
think
definitely
touching the
not.
Breakfast Club anymore, it's going to ruin it.
Yeah, just leave it where it's at.
But there was more than just movies in February 1985. There weren't any premieres for TV shows, but Dukes of Hazzard aired its final episode.
Sayonara. Thank you.
Not a fan of Dukes of Hazzard.
Mm.
I just them Duke boys getting in trouble. That's about all I know.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it wasn't a big thing in my youth either.
Yeah.
But if you were a fan of Dukes of Hazzard growing up, let us
Sorry, guys.
know why, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, and then music was another big thing. So CDs were starting to become more of a usable form of media.
Mm-hmm.
David Bowie,
Yeah.
he
The
released an
Labyrinth.
album on CD.
Yes. For the first.
Yeah, he released, and so actually he released an album on CD, but pre 1985 released a second album on CD, and then his production studio or his manager was like, you know what, let's put all of Bowie's stuff on CD, and David Bowie became the first artist to have their entire discography on compact disc,
Mhm.
which was just an interesting milestone, and that then kind of what led the ways for all these other artists
Mm-hmm.
to put all of their backlog on CDs.
Yeah.
Now everything's on Spotify. And you can just listen to what you want. But this is the big one. Tina Turner releases her debut album and earns Record of the Year and Song of the Year 2 weeks later at the Grammys for What Love Got to Do with It.
2 weeks.
2 weeks later.
Tell me that wasn't bought by Ike.
It wasn't. That was not bought by Ike Turner.
No, you don't think
No.
so? 2 weeks is kind of fast for someone to
dude,
win.
Dude, have you not?
I get it. I mean,
Ike beat the crap out of Tina, dude.
I know.
So
I know.
for all the time that Tina Turner was with Ike, he did not want her putting out her own album.
Really?
No, like He would, but it was always about Ike and Tina. Ike and Tina.
Mhm.
And when Tina started getting her own notoriety, Ike did not like that. So Tina, after she finally got away from Ike, didn't have a music career, wasn't singing, wasn't doing anything, was just covered with bills, could not pay them.
Yeah.
And then finally, someone said, "Why don't you get back in the studio?" And she did. And that's when she started recording this album. It's technically 1984 that she
Yeah.
released the single "What's Love Got to Do with It."
And it's just
It-
crazy. 2 weeks is kind of
Yeah. I mean, she had a phenomenal musical career
correct.
pre her solo gig. But this is just, I mean, it goes to show that Tina Turner is a dominant musical force.
Yes. Yeah.
But what do you say we get into our 1980s trivia before we have any more technical difficulties?
Yeah, let's do it.
If there is any attempt by either contestant to cheat, especially with my wife, who is a dirty, dirty tramp, I am just gonna snap. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So here on our 1980s throwback episodes, we like to, instead of do 90s trivia, do 80s trivia. And because I started us off on the last one, Cruz is going to start us off on this one.
Yes, sir. All right. So your first question, senor. Who was not a We Are the World singer? Lionel Richie.
Okay.
Kenny Rogers. Dan Aykroyd. Madonna.
I'm going to say Dan Aykroyd.
Madonna.
SNL comedian Dan Aykroyd.
I don't know if that's, but Dan Aykroyd. It's Madonna, dude.
Okay.
I didn't know he was on there either. I'm gonna have to look back at the video now.
Ghostbusters Dan Aykroyd.
I mean, he's there, bro.
I see it. That is,
Madonna's
we're
not
gonna
there.
have to find some footage of him and like overlay that.
Yeah.
I did not expect Dan Aykroyd to be on We Are the World.
Was he a singer at all? Like, be
I mean,
interesting.
Blues Brothers, but
I guess.
yeah, that's about it.
Wow. All right.
Okay. So 80 snacks. If you punch one open, what are you drinking?
Punch one open.
If you punch one open, what are you drinking?
Kool-Aid?
Good guess, but no. Capri Sun.
Oh, punch, yes. Oh, jeez. I was gonna say Capri's, but I was thinking, were they out yet? The pouches, you know?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So this one should be good. And I know you know this, so this is a little too easy. What 1987 Nintendo video game would give you 30 extra lives with the secret button code? Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start.
That would be Contra.
That is correct, senor.
Okay. And just because I know you love spelling,
Oh, great.
Martin Scorsese is an acclaimed film director.
Yeah.
Spell his last name Scorsese.
Scorsese. I S.
Yes.
And that's about it for me.
Well, you got more than S.
Score. So it's not a C, it's a K, right? Martin Score.
Think of like scoring a goal in soccer.
Yeah. But I feel like it's not written. Is it a C?
It is a C.
Oh, okay. O-R.
Yeah.
Scorsese. Z or C-Z. Right? Am I right there?
No. Here.
Scores. They.
This is painful to watch.
Yeah.
It's Scorsese. Scorsese.
S-E-S-E. Okay.
It's that Italian in them.
Yeah. Scorsese.
Scorsese. A little bit of fromage on the side. A papa de bio.
All right. Everyone plays. Oh, Jesus. I'm reading the directions to this card. What was the average price of a ticket in 1985? Ironically.
for a movie?
Movies. Yeah, movies.
$1.25.
That's super cheap, but not that far. $3.55 a ticket.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
pretty cheap, man.
Okay. I didn't know the numbers.
$3.55. All right. What's my last one?
Your last one,
Okay.
in his 1981 chart-topping single, who was Rick Springfield pining over and really wishing he had? You know, I wish that I had.
Don't know it, bro.
This guy is a friend. He's always been a good friend of mine. Lately, something's changed and it's hard to describe. Got us up a girl and I want to make her mine. And I'm watching her with those eyes.
I know it.
And I'm loving her with that body.
Yeah.
And I just know, really?
No.
Jesse's Girl.
Jesse's Girl.
You know,
Yeah.
I wish that I had Jesse's Girl.
Oh, yeah. You know,
Oh,
it's a popular song too.
it's one of my favorite songs from
Really?
the 80s. I thought you were shooting for that one. But that's all we got for you today in
This
our
was a rough
1985 throwbacks. Oh, I know, between technical difficulties and trivia.
Yeah.
It was,
Sorry, guys.
ugh. But if you have any ideas for us for this or that, please let us know in the comments below. But I've been Alex,
I've been Cruz.
and this has been Nostalgia Junkies. Peace, y'all.
That's all, folks. Thank you for listening to the Nostalgia Junkies podcast. Follow us on social media, subscribe to the podcast, and make sure to never miss an episode. Till the next episode.